Now we'll talk about the nerve fibers and the nerves. Nerve fibers, we have seen yesterday about the dendrons and the axons. So axons are the nerve fibers basically. And some of them are even 1 meter long. A bundle of nerve fibers, if they're a number of nerve fibers, if they're wrapped in a sheath of connective tissue, they are called nerves. So nerves are nothing different. A number of nerve fibers connected together, covered by a tissue, is called nerve. The sheath keeps the nerve fibers isolated also inside the nerve. That's why the sheath is present. Now, based on the presence or absence of, and that sheath is known as myelin sheath, we have seen earlier also. The nerve fibers are of two types: myelinated nerve fibers and non-myelinated nerve fibers. Now, what are the types of nerves on the basis of this? So, there are 3 types of nerves: sensory nerves, motor nerves, and mixed nerves. Sensory nerves contains only sensory nerve fibers. Those nerve fibers are only sensory. Yesterday we have seen the sensory nerve fibers. The fibers bring impulse. So they bring sensory, what do they do? They bring nerve impulses from the sense organs to either the brain or the spinal cord. Example, which are optic nerve. Whatever we see, they bring from the eye to the either the spinal cord or the brain. Then comes the motor nerves. So what are motor nerves? They are formed of motor nerve fibers. Many nerve fibers joined by a and covered by a myelinated sheath gives birth to a motor nerve. Now these fibers, what do? They carry the messages or the responses to the impulses from the brain or the spinal cord to the sense organs. Just the opposite they do. Whatever. Suppose we have put hand on a very hot object. So the sensory nerves carry this message to either the brain or the spinal cord. And the motor nerves will tell, "Arey haath hata le." So it comes from the brain to the hand. So this is the work of this. So they are just the opposite. And then there are also kinds of nerves called the mixed nerves. Mixed nerves का both sensory and motor दोनों nerves ही है. Their sensory fibers क्या करते हैं? They transmit the impulse from the receptors to the central nervous system. What is the abbreviation of central nervous system? CNS. And motor nerves transmit impulses from CNS to the effector organs, the organs. कि हाथ हटा. That is the word told by CNS to the through impulses, through the mixed nerves. So nerves going to lower the jaw, lower the face, neck and all are done by these nerves. Now, the human nervous system is made up of 3 parts. The CNS or the central nervous system, listening, the peripheral nervous system or the PNS, and the autonomic nervous system or the ANS. Now, these are the 3 parts of the total nervous system. Now, the central nervous system, it consists of the brain and the spinal cord. Brain again has 3 parts: cerebrum, cerebellum, and the medulla oblongata. And the PNS or the peripheral nervous system has again 2 parts: the cranial nerves and the spinal nerves. The cranial nerves are 12 pairs and spinal nerves are 31 pairs. Then comes the autonomic nervous system. They have the sympathetic system and the parasympathetic systems. These are the two bifurcations of the autonomic nervous system. Now we come to the CNS or the central nervous system. So we have seen that it has its main part is the brain. Now the brain is what? Now it is the controlling center of the nervous system. And since it is so important, it has three membranes called the meninges, which protects the brain. And it is enclosed in a bony case called the cranium or the skull. These three membranes or the meninges give protection to the brain. And if any of these three membranes suffer or has any dislocations or something, people suffer from a disease called meningitis. The brain is formed of two things, gray matter and white matter. Now, we will show you the brain, a part of the brain. Now, the brain has two parts, the gray matter and the white matter. Now, the gray matter forms the outer part of the brain and it is mainly composed of cell bodies or neuron. And the inner part of the brain, what is there? It consists of axons and those axons join and form the nerves. Again, we can say that the brain has three main parts. The cerebrum, this is the cerebrum, the cerebellum, see the inner part is the cerebellum, and the part which connects to the neck is known as the medulla oblongata. Cerebrum is the largest and most highly developed part of the brain. Now we can, it is the largest and the most highly developed part of the brain is the cerebrum. As I told you, this is the cerebrum. Cerebrum again is divided into two parts, the right half and the left half. And they are divided by deep grooves, they are divided into two parts. Each of these halves of the brain are known as hemisphere, half sphere. So hemisphere, they are called cerebral hemispheres. Now each hemisphere is not solid, they are hollow, and the layer of gray matter in its wall is a highly, the gray matters are folded together. Why? So that the surface area is increased and they can have a large number of neurons. The folds and the grooves, ये जो folds है, they are called gyri and the grooves are called the sulci. The gyri and the sulci.